So welcome for those who have joined us for the Sin Bin refresher. As much as we all like to hear the banter that's going on, we must continue with the serious stuff, and that is Sin Bin. So tonight I will be in charge of pressing the arrow on the PowerPoint, but I'm going to pass the buck to Mark tonight, as Sin Bin is his baby. And
my baby.
Yeah. And he's the expert in this area. Without much ado, we've heard him before. Mark is joining us from the Northern Lights. Welcome, Mark. And I will share my screen and let's get this presentation happening. If I can.
Maybe not.
Getting there. I am.
While Jacqui's doing that, each of the zones should have the process of Sin Bin in their system somewhere. I will remind people at this point of time that Sin Bin is in the NPL competitions for under 18s and down. So senior NPL competitions, including 20s, do not have Sin Bin. However, it is in all other football in Queensland, okay? And it is a yellow card offence, not a green card, not a blue card, but a yellow card offence. Righto, refresher. Ooh, I've done a great job with this PowerPoint. So the purpose of Sin Bin is all about changing the culture of our game. We as referees have, over the past number of years, ignored Sin Bin, and it will come back and bite us in the butt. We need to look at the changing of the culture, and it will take us a number of years to achieve this. But we need to have the help of the players, and Sin Binning will start the players to educate themselves and their teammates to be quiet. It will eventually create greater respect for us as match officials. When we're speaking out on the field and making decisions, the players will respect those. Eventually, we'll earn that respect. I don't think we can demand it until we start doing what we've got to do. In the long term, it'll make our day, our football match, a more enjoyable game, one hopes. And it looks good from role model scenarios where we don't have players abusing referees. It is one of the saddest things that we have, is that football is the only sport that I'm aware of where players are allowed to get in our face and abuse us. We don't have it in rugby union, rugby league, or AFL. So we need to change that process, which will help us down the track to keep referees and recruit new referees. Next. Okay. Sin Bin, the acts of dissent via word or action at a referee / match official. This means that it is not just you as a centre referee, but your ARs. If you have, the classic one is defenders screaming about offsides at your AR, you need to look after your AR and protect them from dissent. It applies to players only on the field of play. You cannot Sin Bin a player, a substitute, from the bench to the bench. Any player cautioned with yellow card for dissent must be sent to the Sin Bin. It's an easy process. You show the yellow card, point to the tech area, and 10 or 5 minutes, as the case may be. Referees, it's a process we need to show the crowd, the players, and the coaches as to what's going on. Offensive, abusive, and insulting gestures, they're not dissent. That's a red card offence. We must remember that if it's abusive or insulting, it's a red card, not a dissent process. What does dissent look like? Ooh.
2-1. There's 5 minutes to go, 6 minutes to go. Let's just keep it.
Once again, decision goes the way of Sydney FC.
Out of this game, ball's come over. She hardly even touched her. Controversial foul, let's say.
So we as referees need to decipher with our knowledge of the game what's frustration you know, a player's just been taken down or kicked in the leg, they may swear at you saying, blessed heck, ref, what's that all about? Versus what we've just seen of a player who's turned around and challenging your authority. And there's no doubt that player was challenging the referee's authority. And rightly so, was cautioned for dissent. And in most of our football in this state would be sent to the bin to sit and talk to the coach for 10 minutes.
Sorry, Mark. Oh, there we go.
That's all right. You're allowed to have a drink. So Martin here had the pleasure of, we don't see it too often, dissent by action. And then a gobful from the referee as well, from the player as well. It's important that when players show dissent like that, in this case slamming the ball on the ground, that we deal with it. If we bury our head in the sand, it's going to escalate. Players think they're going to be allowed to get away with this sort of stuff, and it will escalate. So we need to deal with dissent by action. And that's a classic.
Sorry to interrupt there, guys. Can you just show that again, please? I missed what the actual dissent was.
Okay.
That's
all right.
Pictures of you guys were over the ball.
What's your play up the ball, Brett? Number 49.
Oh, yeah, got it. So, yeah, thank you.
And let's be honest, that's a restart of play of a throw-in. I don't think I've known anyone to score a legitimate goal from a throw-in.
Yeah, no, cool. Thank you.
I do tag legitimate. So this is a common event that we see in games where defenders chastise the assistant referee for their perception of what's offside and what is not offside. In this game, Cameron chose to deal with the dissent by giving the player a public warning. We must deal with it. If we do not deal with the defenders who are challenging the ARs making decisions on offsides, it'll get worse. And at the end of the game, every decision the AR makes will be challenged. So you as a referee need to deal with situations like this. This player, once again, could be sent to the bin, and they get to sit and talk to the coach about their challenges.
Mark?
Yes.
I think it also goes for the coaches as well, mate. I'm not in that clip. I know you're getting there, but in that clip, I'm pretty sure that most of you heard Royce yell out just at the end there. So make sure you watch the offsides too, referee. So it sort of starts with the coach as well. Sorry.
That's all right, mate. No one's at home, mate. You're fine.
Go and have a pool recovery session the day after their MPL matches. They're certainly taking the FFA Cup very seriously. And now another yellow card. Once again, the Jet supporters roar out their approval. And I think this will be an indirect free kick to Moreton Bay, where Steins picked up the ball because the play had to be stopped to issue the yellow card.
But did he pick it up after the whistle?
Ball was still in play, Cozzy, with Stein had it in his hand. So
she's considered that a pass back?
No, I think she's actually stopped it to issue the card, and therefore where the ball was is where the free kick's taken.
It's got to be where the offence is. Talk to her.
So they're going to take the free kick back to where the offence happened. Gray Pittacres had a chat to the fourth official, Adam Kersey.
I thought the rules that they have changed internationally, that the free kick is taken where the ball
It's a wry smile on
is
the
in
Moreton
play.
Bay bench.
I think they've...
Adam can certainly see the lighter side of things with his brother. All's well that ends well. Will be an indirect free kick too. Almost had it all here. Oh, it's in the back of the net, but it won't count because it's an indirect free kick. So they put the ball in the back of the net. Gold Coast.
So that video clip has it all. Dave, you're right that we need to be aware of what our coaches are saying. If we choose to stop the game for a dissent offence, we need to remember that it is where the offence occurs. If it is dissent, it's where you go back and caution that player. And then in all other levels, apart from MPL, remove that player. Oh, here we go. It's important that we get that decision right. If there is a team attacking and the central defender decides to dissent to the referee at halfway, and we go back and caution that player at halfway, that is where the free kick is taken. And as a team, as in I think Lara's game there, we need to remind the referee where possible to not make a mistake of the restart of play, okay? It's a simple process when we ping someone for dissent. As I've said, you show the yellow card for dissent using words or gestures. It is also shouting at the referee. A lot of our players enjoy questioning our ability. And you see we've got slam the ball to the ground and sarcastic clapping. Those things must be shown as dissent, a yellow card, particularly the sarcastic clapping. Dissent, I've got to keep reminding people, dissent is only when it involves the match officials, okay? Not when two players are having argy-bargy. That is unsporting, not dissent. And we had some confusion when we brought this in the first time round, that referees were getting confused as to when two players decided to get up each other. That is unsporting. It is only at match officials. Match day process. You hear this dissent or see the dissent, you as a referee will caution the player. The player who is then sent to the tech area cannot be substituted until the period of time of the sin bin has expired, okay? For, I think, most of our competitions, it's 10 minutes. And on most of our competitions, it's interchanged. So that player can't be subbed till the end of it. If, while the player is in the tech area in sin bin offence and decides to carry out some other offence, they cannot retake the field, okay? If they're cautioned while they're in the tech area, okay? And they cannot be replaced. Where are we going here? Been booked, no further, can't be substituted.
The ref decides when the player returns.
Right, that was. My advice to referees is to have a conversation with your AR that you can communicate to each other, because it is a potential that the referee may forget what time, but I'm pretty confident that the coaches and other people on the bench will remind you about the 10 minutes. It is important that referees take note within their notebook of when they have sent a player to the bin. We all write a yellow card Y2 in the 23rd minute. Means that player or a player can return in the 33rd minute, not before then, okay? So you must write it down. And once again, foul and abusive language is still a red card offence, okay? Hopefully all of you have also got stickers that show this. Next.
the player commits a second descent caution.
Okay. If player, which comes up later as well, if they commit a second descent, they've come back onto the field, that player goes and sits down in the tech area. So we'll pick on Adrian. If Adrian receives a descent yellow card in the first half, yeah, you're at Hawaii. And then Adrian in the second half receives a second descent card. Adrian can no longer take part in that game. However, he can be substituted or another player come on after the period of sin bin. Okay. If he comes onto the field of play, no, that's the next phase, next one, which is a reckless challenge.
All right, so you want me to go that far ahead?
No, we'll go through the match day process.
Okay.
It's the next video. So we'll play the next video.
You want to play the next one, or do you want to talk about if a player commits a second descent caution and has already been?
We'll cover it later.
Okay.
Comes up later. So this is a match day process of what we expect to see for a descent process activity in the game. So it's very clear that this referee has had enough of this player, is giving this player a very strong warning for his conversation. Basically saying that if you continue down this path, you will be sitting next to your coach. This player obviously does not take the advice. And you can actually hear some of the players in the background getting up in, because he was given the warning as to what was going to happen if he continued to chastise the referee.
Okay. I'm just looking for something else. Do you want to play that one again, Mark?
Yeah, we'll play that one again.
Come here.
So I see in the chat there that you can't sin bin a player for swearing at another player. That is a different offence. That is an unsporting. Sin bin is only when it's aimed at a referee or assistant referee or fourth official if you have them. And no, John, it's not a red card for 2 sin bin offences, for 2 dissents. Okay, we'll get into that shortly. Players in the bin. We don't, oops, if we go back to that picture for a moment, Jacqui. So in our current COVID environment, our tech areas will change to a certain extent to potentially allow spacing between players. We will be sending a sin bin player to the tech area, okay? There's been a few questions of where we send them because there may not be enough seats. If there's not enough seats, he or she sits on the ground, but they go to the tech area, okay? And they stay in the tech area. Next slide. So there's no limit as to the number of players that you can send to the bin. However, we need to be aware that if we get below 7 players, we have an issue with continuing the game. So there's a certain amount of common sense that we as referees need to apply in this scenario. Mind you, if you're sending 7 players to the bin, you've got a pretty bad game. If we get to the stage where you are going to have an abandoned game and you have a player that is due back within a minute or so, they can then, I would encourage you to bring them back onto the field so that you don't need to abandon the game if it's within a minute or so. Common sense applies, okay? Can players leave the tech area? Yeah, they can warm up. If you're sitting down for 10 minutes, you need to warm up before you come back on. Can players receive further sanctions while further offences while they're leaving the field of play for sin bin? Depends on what they do. For me, it would be a process of their walking off the field. If they smack someone out as they're walking off the field, if they hit someone, that's violent conduct. They've got to go. Most players will walk directly to the tech area. If a player, while in the sin bin, commits another yellow card offence, delaying restart of play, entering the field of play, any of those, they can no longer take part of the game. Okay? That they cannot be substitute. They are no longer a player while they're in the tech area. They receive a second yellow card. They cannot be replaced. Okay, Ian, what's your question there?
Was just inquiring whether you give a decision where 3 people don't agree with it from the same team, give you the same amount of abuse at the same time. You just card all 3 of them.
You could. What would you do now, Ian, if 3 players from the team abused you at once now, on a Friday night?
Well, I suppose it depends on the severity. I suppose because
Correct.
once one starts, they all start. Technically.
So you deal with the initiator.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay.
That would be the process. If you have 3 coming at you, there is always one that initiates the process. And there's those that jump on the tails and go, I'm going to join in. So it's like 3 as a crowd. Get the first one in and the other 2 will back away. And as Ross has also said, if you're starting to look at 3 as a crowd.
Okay, no worries.
Does that make sense, Ian?
Yeah, no worries. Thank you.
Good. Okay. Next slide, I think, Jacqui. Duration. 60 minutes is 10 minutes. If the game is more than 60 minutes, it's 10 minutes. I think we only, in community football, I think it's, correct me if I'm wrong, please, Christine, it's only under 13s that are less than 60 minutes, I think, and they will be 5 minutes in the bin. Timing starts when you resume play. When you resume play. Sin bin is for playing time. Okay, so it's playing time. So if you have a broken leg, that is not part of the sin bin period. Okay. Players returning. Like a substitute, they cannot enter the field of play without permission. Play does not need to stop for that player to enter the field of play. However, common sense applies that you don't allow a player to come back onto the field where A, they're going to interfere, or B, get an advantage from entering the field of play where no one sees them enter the field of play. If a player is in the bin at the end of play, so we're talking about in the final series, that is no longer playing time. They are able to take kicks from the penalty mark. Goalkeepers can be sin bin if they so decide to challenge the referee. It means that someone must be in goal, but the team plays with 10. Whether it's an outfield player goes into goal, or whether a reserve goalkeeper goes into goal and another player leaves the field. Okay? When that goalkeeper returns to the field of play, my advice is to look for a stoppage in play so they can go directly into goal. Okay? Once the sin bin period is complete. It's very difficult to have a goalkeeper return as an outfield player. You've got to stop play, wait for him to swap gloves and what have you for whoever's in goal. So use common sense. If there's a stoppage in play, bring the keeper back on in that stoppage of play, if up near the 10 minutes. Next. Okay. Simple descent. This is a flow chart of what happens. Okay. Player commits descent. he can return after his 10 minutes. He can be I keep saying they can be substituted. Okay. After the period of time of sin bin. Once again, I'll remind you, if they commit another offence in the bin, they can't take any further part in the game and cannot be substituted. Okay. Dissent and a yellow card. So a player is dissentful, spends his time in the bin, comes back onto the field of play and commits a yellow card, a reckless offence. They can continue playing. They can still be substituted. It is, in all real terms, their first yellow card offence. And you're right, Christine. No, the goalkeepers won't be able to swap shirts, so it does become a challenge. Okay. 2 dissents. The individual who commits the 2 dissents will go to the bin and will spend his period of time in the bin. After the second set of 10 minutes in the bin, that player cannot return. So if you get 2 yellow cards for dissent, that player cannot return. However, a substitute can be made for that player. So we'll go back to Adrian. If Adrian committed 2 dissent offences, he can't return to the game at the end of his second period of time, but Christine can return on his behalf. Next one, Jacqui. Okay. So you commit a reckless offence. Most commonly, you'll find that a player will get up and abuse a referee. In the past, we've had to send them off for a red card offence for a reckless dissent. They will now go to the bin after a yellow card offence and abuse you for dissent. Let me rephrase that. Reckless offence is a straight normal yellow card, Y1. They dissent after receiving the yellow card. They go to the bin. That is their second yellow card offence, okay? At the end of that period of sin bin, they can return to the game if they pick up another dissent yellow card. They will take no further part in the game. They cannot be substituted. So in reality, that player has received 3 yellow cards. Okay. Where a player commits a reckless dissent, comes back on the field and commits another reckless offence, it equals a red card. We are looking at the reckless process, and the 2 reckless offence equal a red card. Senator George, they can only be replaced after they've served. Yes, they can only be replaced after they've served their second period of time earlier. Go back 1 slide, Jacqui. 2 slides. So in this one here, they can only be replaced after the second period of dissent. Who's keeping track of the sin bin players? The referee should know how many players they've got in the bin at any one time. Ross, no, you don't show them a red card after the second dissent. It is still 2 yellow cards. I'm just running through the chat, Jacqui, before we move on to make sure I've covered all the questions.
It's important to go, it's 2 dissent yellow cards to differentiate between a normal yellow card and a sin bin yellow card. So you've got to think this is, and if you've got the stickers, all the stickers have been sent to the zones to apply to the back of your yellow card, which will make things a lot easier on the field. So you've just got to, even how you record it in your book, it might be Y2 and then in brackets D. So you know that this is a dissent yellow card. Okay, you need to really differentiate between those 2.
And it's important to show the signals. There's a question sitting back here from FQR3F. What would you do if a player didn't remove themselves from the field of play after a red card? Do we start the game if you've sent a player from the field of play? No. I guarantee you that the teams will move him off the field of play. We don't restart the game until that player's left the field of play. I think I've covered all those questions that were there. Okay, there's a flow chart which is fairly simple to follow. There is also, every zone was given stickers so that you can put this on your yellow card. On the second. Okay, there's a question that on the second descent yellow card, does the player have to stay in the tech area? They're not returning to the field of play. It would be up to the coach if they stayed in the tech area. It would be the same as if you were substituted off the field of play and you weren't taking any further part in the game. If they go and have a shower, they go and have a shower. Okay. So this flow chart is very simple to remember. And as Jacqui has rightly said, it's important to identify that the player is going for descent, and you make sure you make your notes correctly on your paperwork, that it is a Y2. Okay. On your paperwork, when you get it at the end of the game, you may need to split some of the boxes in half if you have a player with 3 yellow cards. And we showed that earlier in the year before we had COVID hit us and close us down. Oh, there's a whole lot of messages cropping up. Okay, what's the next slide, Jacqui? Okay. All of the football club, all of the zones were sent posters and stickers about how this works, how descent works. And they have been sent out to all the clubs. So the clubs are aware of descent. Well, they're in the process of sin bin and descent and where it's been applied. We have gone out and spoken to many clubs about descent. And I think we've been asked to go out and talk to a couple of clubs as refreshers on descent and sin bin. So if anyone says that they were unaware that the sin bin was happening, it's not true. We've made it as public and as obvious as we can. It's on our website. It's everywhere you can find it. How does a player find themselves in the bin? Abusing a referee, shouting at the referee, questioning, slamming the ball down, sarcastic clapping. It's important that we get the players to understand that if they want referees in the future, they've got to stop abusing the referees. I don't believe we have a major issue at some of our senior competitions, but we need to deal with it, not bury our head in the sand. Would the 3 yellow card descent reckless count regarding? Yes. So accumulation of cards for 3 yellow cards do add up. Okay. So just so people are aware, if a player picks up 2 reckless and a descent, then that is the one that is dropped out, I do believe. But if you get 1 reckless and 2 descent, all 3 count. Okay. Duration, I go back through this. Greater than 60 minutes is 10 minutes in the bin. Less than 60 minutes, which is, as I think, under 13s in community football, is 5 minutes. Okay. I repeat that the sin bin is for playing time. So if you send a player in senior men's, if you send a player to the bin on the 40th minute of the first half, they spend 5 minutes of the first half in the bin, and then they need to come back and spend 5 minutes of the second half in the bin. Okay. It's playing time.
Right.
Any questions? Hopefully I've covered most that have come up through the chat. No, we're very quiet. Either everyone's bamboozled or out of interest. Did everyone receive the sticker that was created to go on the back of yellow cards?
No, I haven't received it.
No, I haven't either.
Okay, so we need to go, the zones have them. I've sent them all out to the zones. If they don't have any left, we still have some at Football Queensland that can be sent out. Okay. So they are available. You just need to email me or whoever your zone referee coordinator is, and we can get it. Yes, Dan, you can pick them up at Football Queensland has them at training.
Mark, I think the younger referees and beginning referees might need some support with regard to this, especially soon after the restart of competition.
Correct. I agree with you, Adrian, and we will have a few challenges as we iron out these bugs, but it is for the benefit of all our future referees that we get on top of the descent. We've buried our head too long in the sand, and now we've got to fight our way back to get it out of our game. It's worked well over in the countries that have run sin bin. It's dropped the descent overseas by the tunes of 38, 40%. So it's an effective process. What happens is the players become self-policing. Okay, they tell each other to be quiet and leave the referee alone. Okay.
All right. Sorry, we'll just reiterate that this is for NPL junior competitions. We will be monitoring from FQPL down to see how many descent cautions are to make a stronger case moving forward if we can bring it into higher leagues. NPL, unfortunately, NPL we cannot touch because it's a national. It comes under the national competition, so it's not deemed to be grassroots. But we will be looking for, I guess, what the overall caution rate is and compare it to last season to see if descent has, I mean, with COVID, you never know, it might be a bit of a false
reading.
Yeah, sort of thing. But we will be monitoring the senior leagues to see if it continues to be the same trend as previous years, and then we can definitely have a stronger case with clubs to try and bring that cultural change to football, especially the senior football.
And yes, I will bring some down to training at Meakin Park tomorrow night. So we'll see you at training, George.
All right. Okay. We had a couple of questions, but an EDM did go out tonight in regards to the additional substitution, the use of 5 substitutes, I should say. So we're just going to touch base on that. So I'm just going to share my screen.
Don't think everyone got that EDM, Jack, because I didn't get it.
No, I didn't get it either, but it was set to go out tonight.
Set to go at 6 o'clock, wasn't it?
Yeah, set to go at 6 o'clock, but I also didn't receive it. So I didn't know whether I was the only one, but it will cover this. It also will cover, this is more so based for Southeast Queensland because it refers to the NPL competition. But we are also calling for an interest in mentoring our junior referees as well as who is interested in doing some trial games. So I will chase it up tomorrow if people haven't received it. Okay.
So some have dug it out of their spam folder, Weavy.
Thanks for that, mate. But I normally get it from FQ. So.
Oh, no.
Yeah, so same with myself, David. So
and me.
Yeah, I'm not too sure what happened. Okay, so this is a temporary amendment due to COVID, and FIFA or IFAB may look to make this more permanent moving forward, depending, I guess, on the success and the feedback in regards to this. So this is in regards to Law 3, the players. Hang on, I'll just go back. Okay. So now, and again, this is for everything from under 20, everything from senior football, NPL, FQPL, NPLW, anything from under 20s below is now going to be interchanged for us. But we'll just go through this one. So each team will be permitted to use a maximum of 5 substitutes. To reduce the disruption to a match, each team will have a maximum of 3 opportunities to make a substitution during the game. Substitutions may also be made at halftime. So I really need to stress that this is 3 opportunities during the game. So this does not include halftime, nor if we go into extra time. If both teams make a substitution at the same time, this will count as one of the 3 opportunities for each team. So they've got 3 opportunities throughout the match to make a substitution, and they have now, instead of 3, it's now been increased to 5. Unused substitutions and opportunities are carried forward into extra time. Where competitions rule allow an additional substitution in extra times, teams will each have 1 additional substitution opportunity. Substitutions may also be made before the start of extra time and at half time in extra time. Okay, so I guess, does anyone have any queries in regards to that? No, pretty straightforward. I will reiterate when we come into finals, because again, in regards to the additional substitution and how that looks. So now, because there is more impact on the teams to play a lot more games in a shorter space, this is a really good opportunity for teams. And as I reiterated, from under 20s down for NPL competition or FQ Football Queensland competitions, it is now interchange. Everything above that will have the 5 substitutes. If for Football Brisbane, you'll have to refer to your zones to see what their competitions will be doing in regards to this. We didn't really have, we had a couple of queries that people needed a refresher on all of the laws of the game. I really encourage you to go to the website in which the presentation is had. We can certainly go through it quickly tonight, but it's really important that you make yourself familiar, and like I said, the presentation is available on the website in regards to that. All right, so we'll just quickly go through.
Is there anything that people specifically want to know currently about the laws?
All right, so are we all familiar with the substitution procedure? They must leave the field of play to the nearest point on the touchline or goal line, unless the referee indicates the play can leave quickly, immediately at the halfway line, or a different because of safety. So I've seen a couple of referees, I guess, struggle with this in the NPL, like directing them or being proactive. So you've really got to be proactive in getting that player, like identify, yep, they're far side, all right, thank you, off the field here. And instead of like going, oh, where's that player? Where's that player? Oh, now he's slowly jogging to halfway. So be proactive, identify early who the player that is leaving, and your assistant referees on the far side can also assist in this process. Okay, so we really want them to stop wasting time in regards to this.
آخر يسجل اسماء البرازيلية تظهر وبشكل رائع جدا ومميز من خلال هذه البطولة. رويوتا يأخذ مكانه في أرضية الملعب كشيما أنتلرز.
Okay, so yellow and red cards for team officials. Again, a team official guilty of misconduct will be shown a yellow card and a red card if the offender cannot be identified. Senior coaches in their technical area this time will receive a yellow card and red card. So we've already gone through in previous coaching sessions, we've seen clips where team officials are out of their technical area, and we have clear definitions. So really familiarise yourself. This coaching material has also been sent to the club, so they know what they should be getting caution for and what they can be sent off. So it is important that we enforce this.
Oranje hier nog bespaard. Robben er nog een keer vandoor. Iemand vanaf de zijkant schiet nu vanaf de Bulgaarse bank een tweede bal het veld in. Daar komt Robben op.
Into the field of play. And if the referee can't identify who that is, then the coach will be cautioned. If it stops a promising attack, if it denies an obvious goal scoring opportunity, do we send the coach off for this? Yes, no?
They're so talkative.
I know, they are. I can't really see anything because I'm just looking at my screen.
Yeah, why not? Let's get rid of them.
Get rid of them?
Yes.
Yeah.
Get rid of them? Yes, we get rid of them. All right, finding all coaches behave that up, they receive a yellow card. All right, injured penalty takers. So if a foul happens and the person that is in a penalty kick is awarded and that person hasn't received a caution, then and they're going to take the penalty kick, they can receive treatment or assessment, but it also must be within a short time period. If it's going to take a long time, then you have to get them removed, and then someone else will have to take the penalty kick. Okay, this is just a difference between a drinks break and a cooling break. So a cooling break is the one that's normally stopped halfway between the between the 22 and the 30th minute, depending on the rule competitions. And this is a cooling break that lasts between 90 seconds and 3 minutes, and you must add additional time. So it's just differentiating between those two. Okay, kickoff procedure. The team that wins the toss may choose to take the kickoff. Okay, dropped ball. So we may have seen this a few times in the A League, the W League, and also in NPL. So this is to stop a manufactured restart, and it returns the ball to the team that last played it, and it restores what was lost when play was stopped, except in the penalty area where it is simpler to return the ball to the goalkeeper. To prevent that team gaining an unfair advantage, all players of both teams, except the player receiving the ball, must be at least 4 meters away. It can be unfair if a team gains an advantage or scores a goal because the ball has hit a match official, especially the referee. Okay, so the procedure. If play is stopped inside the penalty area, the ball will be dropped for the goalkeeper. So if you've got a player injured and the goalkeeper has the ball, stop play. This is an easy restart. Don't allow them to restart play and then eventually they have to kick it out because we've got a player down, or then you end up stopping play maybe where it's not beneficial. So if you see a player down, they've been down for a bit and the goalkeeper's got the ball, easy, stop play, get the player treated, and then once they leave the field, then you can restart play by dropping the ball for the goalkeeper. Common sense applies here. If play is stopped outside the penalty area, the ball will be dropped for one player of the team that last touched the ball at the point of the last touch. So it's really important when you stop play, look at who was in possession of the play when you were stopping play and where on the field it has. And your assistant referees may have to assist you with this. In all other cases, again, all players of both teams must be at least 4 meters away, except for the player receiving the ball. If the ball touches the referee or another match official and goes into the goal, team possession changes or a promising attack starts, a drop ball is awarded. And the ball is in play when it touches the ground. A lot of referees whistle the restart when they're dropping the ball. But as you can clearly see, this isn't required because the ball is in play when it touches the ground. Oops.
Drop ball.
Okay, so we'll just watch that one again. So blue is in possession of the ball, and as you can see, it hits the referee here. However, if the referee just waited for a minute,
drop ball.
This may have not necessarily been a promising attack because then the attacker was facing towards her own goal. So she could have probably just delayed a whistle just to see what the outcome was in this situation.
Well, interesting instructions from Jeff Hopkins. Frustration from Copus Brown as she hits Rebecca Ducot.
I think she's looking for the 1-2.
Not to be.
Okay, so we'll watch that one again.
Well, interesting.
Okay, so here it has hit the referee, and the player going to receive that ball is facing her own goal. So this is not a clear, promising attack because they have to reset and restart.
Instructions from Jeff Hopkins. Frustration from Copus Brown as she hits Rebecca Ducot.
I think she's looking for the 1-2.
Not to be.
So it's really important in this area that you identify that you're not in the playing channels, that you're not caught flat-footed, and that you're always on your toes and looking at what the attacking options are, and making sure that if you're going to go high line, you go high, and that you put yourself in a channel that's not going to interfere with possibly the next two phases. So it's really important that we anticipate. Or if you get caught and you've got play coming towards you, back off and allow that play to go in front of you, and then you come around it. So anticipating play is really important. And if you get hit by the ball, look to see where you are and what you need to do different so you don't get hit again. Okay, if the goalkeeper throws the ball directly into the opponent's goal, a goal kick is awarded. Not that I think that anyone will see this in their lifetime, but just in case. All right, so we covered handball quite a lot. Was it last week, Mark? Was it handball? Yes, it was, last week. So I think we can skip through handball. And if you need further information, you can refer to that presentation and that video that will be available on the website later this week. So this is one in which if the goalkeeper attempts to kick the ball, just bring it back to this one. If a goalkeeper attempts to clear, release into play, a throw-in or a deliberate kick from a teammate, but the clearance fails, the goalkeeper can handle the ball. So that's in regards to that clip we just saw. So here you can see he goes to kick it, and now he can handle the ball and play continues. How many times would you see that happen on a Friday night, Ian?
Every Friday, without fail. City 6 every Friday without fail.
Okay, delaying a yellow card or a red card. So if a referee is about to issue a yellow card or a red card, but the non-offending team takes the free kick quickly, so this is the free kick quickly, and creates a goal scoring opportunity, the referee can delay the yellow card, red card until the next stoppage if the offending team was not distracted by the referee. So this is, so we don't want to stop the football, or basically I guess if you're going to do a yellow card or a red card, I guess we don't want to take that opportunity or that goal scoring opportunity away from them. So, as this delay occurs, this restores the lost attack, and it is clearly unfair if this new attack is stopped to issue the yellow card or red card. However, if the referee has been distracted the offending team by starting the yellow kick, red card procedure, the quick free kick is not allowed. So this is all about your management. It's having that awareness of that game. So if it was going to be a dog-so offence, the player, we now downgrade it because we haven't, the free kick now supersedes that red kick. So the player will now be cautioned a yellow card and not sent off because the attack was restarted and advantage is applied for that dog-so offence. So it's really important. So if you award the free kick, you've gone through all your dog-so considerations, but the attacker gets up and the ball's in the right spot and restarts play, and they continue and they've got a clear goal scoring opportunity, then we will issue a yellow card when the ball goes next out of play. And if it was going to be stopping a promising attack, again, the quick free kick restores that attack or that opportunity. So then I strongly advise that you warn the player that he got off lightly in that instance. But you must manage this situation. You must be aware that that opportunity exists and to allow play to continue where possible.
Suarez, Ronaldo, Bonazia, free kick given and taken very hurriedly. British, Jean Mario, British, and here's Ronaldo.
So in this clip, if this was a dog-so and they've taken that quick free kick as we've seen, then a yellow card would be issued at the next stoppage. And if this was deemed to be stopping a promising attack, then the player should be given a warning when the ball goes next out of play. Okay, the defensive wall. So when there is a wall of 3 or more defenders, the attackers are not allowed within 1 metre of the wall, and an attacker less than 1 metre. And yeah, sorry, the attackers are not allowed within 1 metre of the wall, and an attacker less than 1 metre from the wall when the kick is taken will be penalised with an indirect free kick. Attackers standing very close to or in the defensive wall at a free kick often cause management problems and waste time. There's no legitimate tackle justification for attackers to be in the wall, and their presence is against the spirit of the game and often damages the image of the game, which we will closely see. So I had a query in regards to, I guess, the spacing of the wall, and you know, at the end of the day, a goalkeeper is not going to allow any gaps in their wall because this is pointless in regards to that. So common sense must be applied when a wall. You can have one person in a wall and that's deemed to be a wall. Sort of thing. But in this instance, it comes down to be part of your wall management procedure. So you place the ball, you tell the person taking the free kick to wait for the whistle, you set up your wall, you count, do I have more than 3 defenders? Yes. Their attackers are 1 metre away? No. Then you've got to deal with that. Set the wall up, make sure that the attackers are 1 metre away if you've got 3 or more, and then take up your position. So it's got to be this has got to form part of your wall management procedure. Sorry, not too sure what happened there. Let's go back.
That yellow wall. The referee must have eyes for all of that. There are flailing limbs and a headbutt in there somewhere. A little bit of something. Well, Barrios has to be a little careful.
So now, as you can tell, if we've got, this will be a lot easier to handle than what would happen on a Friday night football. So just again, I reiterate, it's got to form part of your wall management procedure and just get familiar with that. So as you can see here, obviously we've got 3 more people in the wall. So this defender is more than 1 metre away. So this is correct. Okay. Defending team free kick in the penalty area. When the defending team takes a free kick in their own penalty area, the ball is in play once the kick is taken. It does not have to leave the penalty area before it can be played. So of course, this is again speeds up the game, and this makes football more exciting. We must remember opponents must remain outside the penalty area and at least 9.15 metres away until the ball is in play. The same change has been made to the goal kick in Law 16. So, I mean, technically the foul occurred outside the penalty area, but players restarted, the referees allowed the play to be restarted inside the penalty area, that they took it quickly. Even though there were attackers in the penalty area, they didn't get involved, and play continued in a fast pace, because that's what the game wants. Okay, penalty kick, goal kick encroachment. So the goalkeeper must not be touching the goalpost, crossbar, nets, and that they must not be moving. The goalkeeper must have at least have part of 1 foot on in the line when the goal line when the kick is taken, and they cannot stand behind the line. So common sense applies in regards to goalkeeper encroachment. Unless it's clear and obvious, we do not want to be penalising for encroachment. The referee must not signal for the penalty kick to be taken if the goalkeeper is touching the goalpost, crossbar or net. And if they're moving, we have to stop. Play can't be restarted until they've stopped. Goalkeepers are not permitted to stand in front or behind the line. Allowing the goalkeeper to have only 1 foot touching the goal line, or if jumping in line with the goal line when the penalty kick is taken, is a more practical approach, as it is easier to identify if both feet are not on the line. As the kicker can stutter in the run, it is reasonable that the goalkeeper can take one step in anticipation of the kick. Whoops. So here we got the goalkeeper is behind, so that's not allowed. The goalkeeper is clearly in front, which isn't allowed. Okay, so you can see clearly here, he's got part of his foot touching the line. So this save is correct. Okay, and as we just mentioned, the ball is in play once a kick is taken, and it can be played before leaving the penalty area. Again, this is to speed up play. And as I reiterated before, opponents must remain outside the penalty area until the ball is in play.
It's Victor.
Okay.
It's Victor.
So then we saw this.
Miał takie aktywności. Benfica podzielił.
So how do we allow play to continue here, or what should we do? I'll replay it.
Miał takie aktywności. Benfica podzielił.
What do we think? If we see that happen on the field of play, what are we going to do?
Retake.
Retake? Retake?
Not in the essence of the game.
Sorry, what was that?
Just saying, it's not in the essence of the game. Tried to circumvent the laws.
Yeah, so what are you going to do?
Retake.
Retake, yeah.
If you didn't have a retake, the only other thing you could do was an indirect free kick, which you'd want to avoid at all costs. So, you know, retake is a much safer outcome.
Yes, that's correct. Retake is what IFAB have come out for. Okay. Sorry. For 3 or more people in the wall and whereby the attackers have encroached on the wall, wouldn't we have to wait the free kick taken before we can award the indirect free kick to the defending team? That's correct. So, but, you know, manage. It's all about management sort of thing. If you've got presence and you can see the attackers, you're going to take up your position and you start to then encourage them, manage them, go, hey, I told you, 1 metre away. We don't stand there mute, you know. As a defending team, I thought I would want the free kick. Well, it's all about management. We're not looking for fouls. You know, we're here to manage the game. I guess, you know, if we can manage these situations, it's all about attacking style of football. So be proactive and manage these situations to the best of your ability. And if you have to give a free kick, we give a free kick. If you have to give a caution, we give a caution. But try and get the skills to manage these games within it. Like the laws aren't black and white. The book is flexible, and we must have that approach as well.